Welcome to the EGC Edge Marketing Podcast, where we provide you with the latest digital marketing news, performance marketing tips, and creative problem-solving skills you need to stay resilient in our fast-changing world of marketing. Listen each week and learn how to get the edge over your competition and grow.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining our first EGC Edge podcast, which we are very excited to launch. Today, we are going to be talking about the introduction of Google Analytics 4 with our Director of Analytics, Christopher Canadeo. So Google announced that starting July 1st, they're going to be doing away with the standard Universal Analytics and instead are going to be transitioning to Google Analytics 4. Chris here is going to help you understand how to use GA4 with confidence and make the best use of your new insights. Chris, it's a pleasure to have you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me on the first episode of the EGC Edge podcast. Very excited to be here and to talk about Google Analytics 4.
So, Chris, we'll get right into it. So, first and foremost, what are the key differences between GA4 and the outgoing Universal Analytics?
In my field, a very exciting change for a number of reasons. This is something that doesn't happen very often, that we take a very kind of traditional, standard, tried and true model in Universal Analytics and completely change the format, the data model to Google Analytics 4. We could start with the data model in that a lot of the emphasis for Google Analytics 4 is based on event tracking versus sessions. Sessions in regular Google Analytics is any sort of encounter on a website for a certain period of time. Someone can view a page, can click a link, watch a video. So all of these would occur within one session. So with GA4, we're really breaking up those individual actions from a session into events. So events is kind of the big word, and I would say the biggest change that our clients will see day to day when it comes to reporting and performance tracking is looking at events. Also, I will say as well, which is very exciting, is I would say, more emphasis and implementation on audiences. So audiences play a huge part in Google Analytics 4. It's really all about the audience when it comes to performance marketing, kind of sending customized creatives to specific niche audiences. So Google Analytics 4 is very great and at this point pretty flushed out in developing kind of platform-driven insights to better understand your audiences, whether it comes to customer acquisition, customer retention, even predictive analytics models that you can input audiences into. But also I would say that it's more so very flexible. So it allows you to really define your audience at an increased level of customization than you could in Google Analytics 3. So audiences are definitely key. That's something, again, that we'll see, I would say, progress as we kind of get more accustomed to the new developments in Google Analytics 4. We'll see kind of an increased capability spectrum for these audiences, and this will perhaps involve integrations from other platforms like Salesforce, HubSpot into GA4. So it's all very exciting. There was a time where it was viewed that Google Analytics and Salesforce were competing against one another for kind of who is the superior tool to understand your customers. But because both of them do much different, I would say, have different goals and objectives, really utilizing both a CRM platform and Google Analytics 4 together will give you kind of the most well-rounded and holistic view of your client's user base and just ideal customers.
With all of these new features, if you want to call it, and introductions, we do expect there to be some challenges. Do you mind addressing some of those relating to GA4 and also, what marketers and we can do to overcome such challenges?
Yeah, I mean, I will say some of the challenges are I would say just the adjustment of understanding how the metrics are changing. So measuring success will look different in Google Analytics 4 than it did in GA3. So from a reporting perspective, everything has pretty much changed. And not only that, by the start of next year, all of the historical data will be erased. I mean, obviously you can export it, but will be no longer accessible in GA3. So I will say with any kind of monumental transition like this, there will be some growing pains as far as getting clients to really adopt the new way of measurement in Google Analytics 4.
Gotcha. And I guess this ties into the next question. Although GA4, I guess you could say, is relatively in its infancy, Are there any emerging best practices that we should impart to our clients and adopt ourselves?
So I would say, I mean, tagging and measurement are definitely the two biggest when you're kind of starting your Google Analytics 4 account. There are different ways to track conversions versus events versus leads and goal tracking. There are a lot of different ways. So really kind of linking with an expert to make sure that everything is tracked properly from the onset is extremely crucial, because if things are misrepresented, misreported, mistracked, they'll only lead to skewed results and improper reports down the road. So it's kind of the initial phase of making sure that all of your website interactions and goals are properly tracked. And then the reporting comes after and the conversations with the client. But it only happens once everything is properly set up.
Understood. Awesome. And I guess, the good news about this new technology is kind of everyone is on the same level playing field, and that we're all forced to adopt this new feature. What are the best ways that you would educate clients on the new applications of GA4? I guess this kind of ties into best practices, but anything beyond that?
I would say it really comes down to kind of an account by account basis, account being the Google Analytics 4 account. So it definitely requires kind of full immersion, understanding what the platform can do, where the limitations still exist, what is being developed. So it's kind of the more you play with it, the more you know. And it's definitely something that, again, the data department, analytics team, with other departments like creative, with account, just all kind of being in the same room together and being on the same page is, hey, this is how we're going to measure success. This is what we can see. Here's where our customers are coming from. So really kind of all being in unison is probably, I would say, the biggest change and with any kind of wide ranging platform like this, but especially Google.
And I know we touched on a lot of the new features, audiences, events, etc. beforehand. Is there any feature in particular or aspect of GA4 that you are most excited about?
So I will say, I mean, the predictive analytics is something that I think is really exciting. And the fact that Google is now kind of being more proactive in generating insights for different channel optimizations, different media mix changes. So that to me is cool, but it's more so how it kind of fits in this puzzle piece into the greater picture of AI in general. So obviously Google has their own LLM, their own kind of Bard AI, if you will. It's similar to ChatGPT, which is a little bit more well known. So it's more so how Bard AI and these other AI platforms can really integrate with Google Analytics 4. Ideally, I mean, in my world, it would be superb if you can just ask it, similar to how you would ask Bard, kind of different questions on anything. But if you could ask Google Analytics 4 specific questions about customers, specific kind of ways to design and create audiences and reports, it would definitely be a huge time saver. There obviously will require a significant amount of expertise to be kind of dabbling in these endeavors. I would say more expertise than ever to kind of understand what the limits of the AI capabilities are as they grow. But that's something that I definitely am excited about, because it really is a revolutionary change and one that is definitely new to the Google Analytics platform. And also the integrations as well. So kind of creating this audience-driven dashboard that's a one-stop shop for our clients, so they don't necessarily need to check in multiple places for Salesforce data, HubSpot performance, any other CRM. So definitely, I would say is the biggest kind of, once it's set up, area that I'm looking forward to really showing our clients.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris, for providing all this amazing information. We are very excited to see how GA4 presents new opportunities for ourselves and our clients. Before we wrap, we do want to mention the EGC Edge, which builds on the AI component that we touched beforehand.
EGC Edge is a competitive tool that leverages industry-leading data partners in the realms of television, digital, search, social, e-commerce, so all digital platforms as well as traditional. Also using EGC proprietary technology to really give clients an understanding of how they fit in the landscape, but also that can provide actionable insights to website improvements, different media mix, spend allocation, to really provide an edge over the competitive field for our clients.
So, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed this podcast, please feel free to rate, share, and follow. It really helps us out. This is our first podcast. We have it down in the books. Thank you so much for joining, and we will see you next time.